everyone, it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you today, not from the Grow Together homestead, but from a friend's homestead in Golden, BC, where I'm very, very fortunate that I get to play in this amazing 20 by 50 high tunnel and prepare it for a successful gardening season. This is the same homestead that I'm working in conjunction with to create the 4-season geothermal greenhouse, and we will be giving updates on that as we go. But for now, I do have this amazing 20 by 50 high tunnel I can work with. So at home in just outside of Calgary, I'm covered in a layer of snow at my place. There's no way I could be doing this work in my garden at home today. And actually outside, I don't know if you can see, there is tons of snow here, but this high tunnel is an incredible season extender. If this soil was ready, I could be planting brassicas and lettuces and kales and stuff in here today, because the soil is actually workable and it's warm, even though it is -8 outside. I'm sweating in here. It's really quite warm. So I could be doing planting in here because they're not really expecting lows to go much below -10 for the rest of the season here. So I could be planting in here. But that would be foolhardy because I want to set this high tunnel up for success. That means preparing it in a way, taking a little bit of extra time here at the start of the season and using the 3 C's so that I know that I'm setting this up for success, not just this season, but in any seasons following. So what are the 3 C's? Well, compost, companion planting, and crop rotation. Those 3 C's are your best friend when it comes to maintaining the soil's nutrition and also the biodiversity within your soil. Unfortunately, this soil has been through a bit of a rough time. This thing was prepared for planting only at the end of last season and got some nice crops off of it, but there was no prep done to prepare for the coming winter. It should have been loaded down with snow to ensure that there would be a nice layer of moisture in here, and this stuff is bone dry, and unfortunately there's also probably been a big death in some of the biodiversity in the soil. So I'm going to do a couple things here today. I'm removing the worst of the rocks, putting them in the pathways. I am going to take off the larger plant matter and chop it up and relay it out. I'm also going to put down a nice really thick layer of compost. And then I'm going to be placing planks every 4 feet or so across these beds. The reason for that is that gives me a way of working around these garden beds, both to divide it up into that crop rotation cycle that I talked about, and also to not compact the soil in between, which means that I can, if I create a bunch of 4x4 blocks out of this wonderful, these 3 rows of garden beds, I can probably create 30 different blocks and have a nice crop rotation cycle started. If I'm walking on those planks instead of on the soil, that allows the soil to stay nice and humusy and not compacted, and allow for better root growth and movement of all those wonderful soil allies that are living in the soil to help us with nutrition exchange. So, compost, that's going to bring me nutrition. Not is it only bringing me nutrition, it's also bringing me some of that biodiversity into my soil here that's going to help. Moisture, I'm going to be bringing piles and piles and piles and piles of snow in here because it will melt really quickly, and that's going to get everything sort of starting to percolate up and come back to life. I will also be laying down this broken matter, this up after it's been broken up, as mulch. So what are some of the companion planting that I'm going to do with my crop rotation cycle? I'm going to create little blocks, 4x4 blocks of different companion plants. So one is will be a tomato block. With the tomatoes, I'm going to plant some of the things that tomatoes work really well with. So carrots, onions, a couple of lettuces as mulch, and some nice herbs in there. I will do some 3 sister blocks. I don't generally grow corn much, but what I use as one of my 3 sisters is sunflowers instead. So I'll do squash, beans, and sunflowers in another block. I'll do a brassica block, so I might plant some cabbage with some dill and some mint in pots to help keep the cabbage moths away. And then there's a few other ones that I like to use, which I will show you if you do follow along. I'll show you how all the companion plants work well together. There's also other videos that I've created about that you can look back on. But yeah, we're gonna set this high tunnel up for success. We're not just gonna do a willy-nilly, let's get some stuff in the ground. It's better to take this extra time now to get that soil built up and nice. We're not going to rototill it all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that compost down and just work it in a little bit. I'll just get it started, because this soil, while it was rich soil to start, has been depleted over the winter with a lack of moisture. I just want it to be successful, and that's what I'm going to set it up for. So if you're interested in how this is coming along and some of the my own garden at home, or if you're interested in seeing how the geothermal greenhouse is coming on, please do stay tuned. Make sure you ask lots of questions, because that's what I'm here for. And as always, I hope you take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.